It appears artists on Instagram are in the deep end of the filthy cesspool of intellectual property theft and are literally being forced to either A, on one hand accept being choked till the very air you breathe escapes your body by the AI advocates and enthusiasts, or B, having all their work stolen and used to train another dumb AI model that shits out soulless images claiming to be the future of art and entertainment. Oh, Instagram, what were you thinking? You used to be a jolly good app that gives artists the chance to show their art to every single person that followed them, which in turn created a peaceful and almost perfect community where artists could collaborate with other artists regardless of the size of their account or how many thousand million followers they had. Where did it all go wrong? First, you killed off promoting our art, so now the majority of our followers don't even get to see it every time we post art. Next, you brought all these new features that immediately killed off sharing simple art posts, and we can all agree nobody asked for those. Next, you tried to copy TikTok, and now you're literally using your own hands to try to bury the already dying platform, ruining every artist's account intentionally without any valid explanation. Yay, good job guys. For those of you living under a metaphorical rock and haven't heard what's been happening with Instagram, well, it appears they rolled out probably the worst update since the inception of the app, and it looks like the art community has finally dug a grave and is planning to bury Instagram 6 feet under. Goodbye. You'll be missed dearly. Meta recently announced that starting June 26, they're going to automatically take data from every account that has posted on Instagram and use that data to train their new AI system, or in their words, develop and improve their AI products. Who asked for this? Have these people been living under a rock or something? This literally already happened with DeviantArt, and that caused a whole situation where people were calling them out on every platform, including Facebook, so there is no way they're going to say they had no idea of that happening. We all know Meta is already eavesdropping on all our conversations. That's why when you talk about something with your friends, you immediately start to see it on your timeline. But now they're choosing to turn a literal blind eye to the conversation that really matters. Good job, guys. Apparently, Meta has already rolled out these new generative AI features across accounts in the EU, and they're using not just your personal information and photos, but your captions and probably your DMs too, which is pretty funny because knowing the type of DMs I send to my friends, let's just say it's not all too family friendly. Good luck teaching your AI with that. According to this article on Yahoo News, a spokesperson from Meta said they don't train their AI with stuff people share with their friends and only limit the training to stuff that is shared publicly, which kind of makes sense if you are a 6-year-old running to put on your shoes when mom is going out, hoping you'll come back there and she's still waiting for you. That never really happens now, does it? This isn't going to be the first time Meta or Facebook has lied publicly about not using its users' data or breaching their privacy, so permit me when I say I'm a bit too skeptical to take their words as the gospel truth. Meta's text-to-image model can produce really amazing quality images because Instagram has many photos of art, fashion, culture, and also just images of people and us. What? Instagram has many photos of art, fashion, and culture, so that gives you the right to just steal them and use it to train your AI? Wow, what a world we live in nowadays. I'm sure the people making these art and fashion images will be pleased to know that their work is being unethically used to train an AI data model without their consent. Big lawsuit waiting to happen. To enforce the new rules, Meta says it is relying on a legal basis called legitimate interests, which essentially gives businesses a lawful way to process user data without the need for explicit consent under the GDPR. That, by the way, is the EU and UK law enforced in 2018 that is designed to bolster online privacy and give individuals more control over their personal info. Oh, that's funny because there's a European campaign group called None of Your Business that has been advocating for digital artists' rights and is currently filing numerous campaigns across Europe against Meta and its breach of users' data. I'm sure most artists and other people living across Europe must have noticed some of these changes on their accounts, and a lot of artists must have probably tried to opt out from the AI training feature, but Meta made it insanely difficult to just opt out, so now you're automatically forced to have it on by default. According to the policy update, which is also insanely difficult to find and is only available to users in EU, it says we're getting ready to expand our AI at Meta experience to your region. AI at Meta is a collection of generative features and experiences like Meta AI and AI creative tools along with the models that power them. What this means for you. To help bring these experiences to you, we'll now rely on the legal basis called legitimate interest for using your information to develop and improve AI at Meta. This means you have the right to object to how your information is used for these purposes. If your objection is honored, it will be applied going forward. What do they mean by if your objection is honored? That doesn't make any bit of sense. So basically they could just go over your objection and go, this artist's work is really impressive and our AI model will do well if we steal from him. Objection denied. This has to be the most sadistic and confusing corporate jargon I have ever read. They apparently suspected most people are going to find it very difficult to locate this page, so they just filled it with so much corporate English to the point where once you get to the page and read it, you'll just realize it's just so much horse shit and you'll be convinced to scroll down all the way to the bottom of the page and click the close button. What does legal basis called legitimate interest mean exactly? It's a legal phrase that has nothing to do with a user's decision here. Under EU privacy laws called General Data Protection Regulation, you have the right to opt out from Meta using your content. It's that simple. Notice the discouraging phrase, if your objection is honored. That phrasing implies that Meta has a say in the matter as arbiter. The fact is that no matter what, Meta has to honor such an objection from its users according to EU law. That doesn't even make any sense. According to the article on fastcompany.com, when you try to click the link that says right to object on the Instagram policy page, it then takes you to this landing page, which is also filled with more technical jargon in a desperate attempt to confuse you into accepting Instagram and its new AI features. One of the boxes literally asks you to explain why you don't want Meta to use your content to train their AI, which doesn't make any sense because you should be allowed to opt out or decide if you want your art to be used or not, without having to give any further explanation. It's just common sense. Meta shouldn't have the right to guilt trip its users into just accepting their policy just like that. This is blatant theft in broad daylight. And then to top it off, the final box says you still need to provide additional information to help Meta review your objection, which is so stupid because it's an objection. I have the right to say no. You can't review an objection because it's an objection. And then when you successfully pass all these obstacles, you still have to provide an authentication code which is sent to your email, which is also so unnecessary because you're already logged in at that point. Then after that, you then have to complete the dreaded "Are you a robot?" quiz before your objection is then sent off for approval. Literally, they could have just solved all this by just having an opt-out button that you turn on or turn off. That's what every other platform has been doing. And then even after taking your time going through all these pointless steps and answering all these ridiculous questions that were written as if they were made for a literal child, you still have to wait and see if you're successfully opted out or not. So what was even the point of any of that? When we reached out to Meta to inquire about these practices, the company reinforced that it was working in concordance with local laws. When asked if Meta had a comment for the creative community who might view this AI training as a betrayal, a company spokesperson claimed that this was an inclusive rather than exploitative process, noting these features and experiences need to be trained on information that reflects the diverse cultures and languages of the European communities who will use them.
Meta and Instagram are going to use your art to train their AI, and people think that their opt-out process is going to save them from that. It won't. I already felt like this was actual BS because I don't understand how a company can opt you in to something that you don't want automatically. But we have some lovely artists over on Twitter trying to actually go through the process of opting out of being used to train their AI. Unsurprisingly, it did not go well. If you even managed to submit the form, which a lot of people could not, there was an error. I wouldn't put it past them to make it so that their form was just unusable. You had to then prove that this was going to harm you in some way, that it was actually happening. AI was taking your art and using it. Even if you do all that, they can still reject your opt-out form in the end. The opt-out form is performative. They're literally already doing it. I wouldn't be surprised if Google is looking at your docs or your drive and just feeding its AI. Companies that are this big do things that they know are wrong and put aside money so that they can pay off the lawsuit later. By the time they've made all the money from what they're doing wrong, the lawsuit is like a fraction of the amount that they'll have to pay. Tech companies especially, if you do not give them what they want, they will steal it from you eventually. Look at what just happened to Scarlett Johansson and the use of her voice for OpenAI. She refused consent and they stole her voice anyways. We have tools to fight against this, like Nightshade and Glaze, but in the end, this stuff is still going to happen. It's not like we can stop using social media because it's our way to connect to people, and for a lot of people, it's the way to build and grow their business. But don't let your guard down. We still have to fight from within the system. I appreciate all the artists who actually went through the trouble of going through this whole opt-out process and then posting it on Twitter. We do need people to call out their BS as well. This kind of stuff is only going to get worse. That's why we have to stick together as a community and be vocal and use tools like Glaze and Nightshade so we can poison their whole data set. Good luck out there and keep an eye out on your fellow artists.
Well, artists immediately took to Twitter to air out their rightfully earned concerns about the situation, and the tweets were exactly what you were expecting from people who have been pushed to the corner of the classroom wall yet again. I decided to delete everything that I possibly can off of my IG, and I also filled out the form but never got a reply back. I'm currently contemplating about deleting my entire account. So you need to have your stuff stolen to tell them you want to opt out, but by then the model already exists, is out there, and has probably spread to other prompt bros. Folks, at this point, just avoid Instagram altogether. An artist I follow even tried opting out and was rejected because reasons, I guess. Hi, thank you for contacting us. Based on the information that you have provided us, we are unable to identify any examples of your personal information in a response from one of Meta's AI models. As a result, we cannot take further action on your request. What? What does that even mean? So they're basically saying you have to wait until your work has been used to already train the AI model before you can then try to opt out, which they'll basically still reject in the end. Someone has clearly lost their mind. Apparently, it seems people in other parts of the world just can't opt out no matter how hard they try, while people living in Europe or UK could try and opt out and have it approved almost immediately, which explains why some people have just been complaining about not being able to opt out in weeks. So it seems for people who don't happen to live in the EU or UK, the only solution to this is to probably connect to any of the countries in that region using a VPN and then logging into your Instagram account and trying to opt out, which might be the only solution for now. That or waiting till June 29 when the update has been rolled out for everyone, and by that time, who knows, they might have already taken all your art and used it to train their AI. A lot of artists have been upset with Instagram over this situation, and both professional and hobby artists are literally deleting all their art from their accounts, while a huge number of artists are leaving the platform and moving to other platforms to post their work. Speaking of other platforms for artists, the app Kara immediately exploded in popularity as artists looking for a place to share their art started trooping in huge numbers to join the app, almost forcing it to crash out from the overnight increase of its user base, which seems to me like a perfect example of the phrase suffering from success.
Recently, you've probably seen a whole bunch of your favorite artists and creatives moving over to an app called Kara, and you've probably wondered what it is, same like me. So I went ahead and found out for you. Well, I'm here to explain it for you. Kara is essentially an app that works similar to Instagram but has a slightly different algorithm and way in which they present works. They actually combine social media viewability and portfolio viewability, which basically means you have the option to customize your grid layout to present as a portfolio to people, also using it to share and gain more popularity with your works, as well as scroll and discover new artists for yourself. Kara markets themselves more as a platform that doesn't use or accept any form of AI-generated artworks, which has been an issue with artists. They have an algorithm that completely filters out all artificially generated artworks and will flag them up and remove them automatically. If your artwork is flagged accidentally, you can send an appeal. They strongly market themselves as fully against artificial intelligence. This is what they call glaze, which allows artists to actually protect themselves and their artworks, which essentially completely removes artificial intelligence from using an artistic style from your work. I think it's pretty clever, actually. Now, unfortunately, Instagram is the dominant superpower over the social media world, and unfortunately for artists, it will remain that for the foreseeable future. But this is a nice, refreshing start for social media that doesn't use or accept any artificial intelligence, especially from the fact that it's a secure place for artists to upload their works, knowing that it won't be able to be used by other artificial intelligence.
Kara's founder, Jingna Zhang, who was recently in the news after one of her photographs was copied bar for bar by a painter in what appeared to be a plagiarism case, has spoken in favor of artists on their Twitter account and is trying to bridge the gap between tech and the art community. Building a product is a bit like making art. I don't think everyone needs to love it, but so long as I'm building something I will like myself, I think there might be people out there who will enjoy the same, and we will find our community together. A lot of artists have moved their entire portfolios to Kara and are beginning to use it as their main platform to share art since, well, it's been a long time coming and the art community has been begging for a platform like this where artists could just post what they like without the fear of theft, plagiarism, or trying to play guessing games wondering if an image is AI generated or not every time you see a drawing on your timeline. RJ Palmer described Kara as the platform he's been wanting for years, which is huge for our fractured community. It currently feels like DeviantArt did a decade ago. It got a vibe that ArtStation was never able to capture because it was only for portfolio quality work. Really hope it lasts. RJ also posted one of his popular pieces on his Kara profile, which got a quote-unquote constructive criticism from this guy who had this to say. It seems Kara is going pretty well and taking us way back to the early days of DeviantArt and the good old days of CG Hub and conceptart.org. While some artists have mixed feelings about moving their portfolios to new platforms since this isn't the first platform that was launched in recent years and is supposedly dedicated to artists, which slowly then dies out after some time. Other artists are taking it with hopes of it being the dream community every artist has been praying for. An artist brought up interesting observations they had noticed while spending time on Kara and made pretty valid suggestions for Kara and the team behind it to help sustain it in the long run. Since it's a fairly new platform, there's obviously going to be little issues and nuances here and there that will surely be tackled in due course and shouldn't prove to be that big of a deal as long as the team behind it are invested in it enough to care and are quite passionate about artists from everything we've seen so far. Another Twitter user made a tweet calling out Kara for not being the savior everyone thinks it is because apparently they're using the same cloud server that other AI data mining companies are using. But then again, multiple other platforms who are against AI models also use the same web hosting platform and have been successful with it, so Kara definitely shouldn't have problems with that. It seems like people are just nitpicking at this point, looking for something tiny to hate about this new platform instead of just enjoying it for what it is. For the most part, Kara seems to be going pretty well and everyone is enjoying their time on it. Everyone is creating an account and sharing their work, and I just created an account myself, so go find me on there and follow me. I'm kinda not sure if I can post all my hot boy drawings on there since apparently not safe for work art isn't allowed on Kara, but I guess we'll see anyways. Maybe they'll change that rule soon or not. I guess we'll have to stick around to find out. Well, it looks like we made it to the end of the video. If you enjoyed the video, please leave it a like, share the video with a friend, and subscribe to my channel if you're new here. With all that being said, I'll see all you pretty penguins in the next video. Bye.